Welcome, coworkers.
Welcome.
Hi.
We're excited to be starting season 2 of Business and Bullshit. So we are promising to bring all the business and all the bullshit. I am Amber Nicole, your favorite diversity specialist.
I am Isis J.
I am Tina Latrice.
And we are three women.
Three perspectives.
One
I
podcast.
want to introduce our very special guest that we have with us for today's conversation of He Loves Me, He Loves Me Not. And it is our friend, colleague, mentor, and former youth pastor, yes, the Reverend Deacon Dr. Cadrick Jones.
Really? You took it back to
We
Broadway?
did.
We did.
We did. You family. We can do that.
Yes.
New season, so we've got new format, and so this season we will be honoring ancestors, and so we each, every show, will be picking an ancestor, be it our own or someone even famous that has gone on before us to honor. And so each of us on today's episode will, including our guest, we will be letting you know who we are going to honor. So today I am honoring Whitney Elizabeth Houston. This was her birth month, and I've just been feeling her energy all year, and I got her t-shirt on. So I am honoring the voice, the one and only. I give you Whitney Elizabeth Houston.
Okay, not the middle name. I'm going with I am going with the Fannie Lou Hammer, because sometimes I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I just want to make sure that I also maintain the strength and the stick-to-itness that came with Fannie Lou as well.
I am going to go with Lavinia Mooney, my great grandmother, who always spoke her truth no matter what situation it was. So I'm going to honor her today.
And I really want to honor Jesus, really, because he was so dope that he was 100% masculine, but he could respect and appreciate femininity in all of its glory. So
Start. Per my email, let's keep children all over this country that are 12 and under that are going to school and having to go face to face. Let's just keep them in our prayers and protect them as much as we can.
All right, coworkers, and this is Isis, and per my email, I would love for us to keep our thoughts and prayers with those in the path of Hurricane Ida. This is not the time for why didn't they leave. We just need to keep them in our thoughts and prayers, and as help is needed, that we heed whatever calls to whoever we can.
Kendra?
hey, per my email, hey, don't forget to check on those that you love.
Per my email, language is a labor of love, and we can be mindful what we say. And whether you want to say something where the message is ratchet, you can also, reframe certain things. Like if you want to be able to say, I wish I would, and you can simply say, you're welcome to test that theory at your earliest convenience, right? Or if you want to be able to convey that, as I stated in my previous email, right, that you've already said, yes, that there are always ways to say what you want to say.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite clapback. Like in my last
my last email. Mm-hmm.
As you can see in our previous interactions, this is what was decided upon.
In response,
I told you once before.
Right. I done already told you.
I done already said it.
Yes. So,
all right. So, coworkers, now we get down to what you're here for. So, this is our show topic. He loves me. He loves me not. As you all know, there is a lot of discourse in regards to relationships these days, specifically between cishet men and women, specifically Black cishet men and women. And so today's topic, we're going to just talk about some things in those regards. And so we brought in our awesome guest. This is Cadrick Jones again. So Cadrick is Deborah's husband, father of three, his nations, as he calls them. He is Walter's carbon copy. He is a graduate of John L. McClellan High School. He is a native of Eudora, Arkansas, and a Navy veteran. Thank you for your service. Thank you so much for your service. He is currently the pastor of Nation of Kings Assembly, 13 years of life coach, and founder of PJK On Demand. His life statement is, life is too short to play games, so keep it real. So I welcome our awesome guest in this conversation today, Kadrick Jones.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So we here. Amber, what we finna do?
So we are discussing, of course, He Loves Me, He Loves Me Not, which came about because very often we will have discussions, women will have discussions, and we'll say to each other, he don't even like me. And so we are saying, why is it that men don't understand that they don't like us? And we wanted to have that conversation, but we didn't want to have that conversation from a one-sided point of view. And thus, of course, we brought our guest on. But in that, I will say when we were doing the pre-show, Kadrick asked us to define what does liking us mean, right? So
Yeah.
I think that would be where we start. So what does that mean for you, Tina, when you say he don't like me, or I says he don't like me?
I think I'm liking who I am, knowing that, knowing what my ambitions are, knowing that my family and friends, knowing that part of me that I value those, and loving that about me. And that's liking me, knowing I am very much a geek. And that's okay. And me having that safe space to be all that I am. That's liking me.
I want you to know, Kadrick, that, between you and my therapist, I need all donations for edge repair. But this was a great question. And so when he said define like, and you sit and you go, oh, that means somebody gives you attention and different things like that. But what I've learned is as you get older, that definition evolves. And so for me, liking
that, it's not just sending that check yes or check no.
Right.
It's not that yes, not that do you like me, check yes, check. It's not the, but we can still use that. It can evolve too. We'll talk about that later. Maybe another show. But as it's evolved, it's, do you like me? One of my favorite Beyonce songs is Flaws and All. And then Kelly Clarkson had this song called, Can You Love My Dark, Can You Love Me Through My Dark Side? And so is it something that I know you like me when you can sit in the discomfort that I have with myself. You're not rushing to change something or rushing to get me to toxic positivity. You're okay with the discomfort that I have with me. And, you're going to sit with me through that. You might even snatch my edges and tell me some things about myself, through it. But liking me means that you love me through my flaws and all. And you don't run at the first sign of my discomfort. And then how it makes you uncomfortable with yourself. So, and then it's persistency and consistency as well. That's another way that I know you like me. I don't have mixed signals because if I have mixed signals, that tells me in itself that you're not really feeling me because you would assure me in your feelings for me and I won't have to sit and guess anything.
I think liking for me is okay. Well, I think liking for me depends on love languages as well. Right? It means that we've discussed that and that you consistently show me love in the way that I like to receive love and not just the way that you like to give love. I think that liking me also means that my whole self is welcome. And by my whole self, I mean everything I am, but also everything that I'm not. The things that the person that I say I want to be, and the person that I am trying to be, and even when there's that space between those two, the person I think I am, the person I want to be, that there's like Ice was saying, there's not toxic positivity there, but additionally, it's not the box that you've decided for me as well. That you are not only liking me when I agree with you or when I'm not pushing you or when I'm not asking you to be who you want to be or who you say you want to be as well. That you can hear constructive feedback from me because you know that I'm not saying it to hurt you because I like you, right? So maybe that's what that looks like for me.
It's a very complex issue to get into because when you look at it from a male perspective, you have to remember men are hunters, right? Right. And when a man hunts or when hunters hunt, they hunt for what they see and what they like when they see it. But then they take that same thing that they've hunted for, and they're used to taking that thing and breaking it down and preparing it, in a form that's suitable for them. So that's the psyche of a man, because he's used to building, changing, rearranging, right? But he has to understand that women are not animals to be hunted, even though he's going after with that same mentality. They're not animals to be hunted, and they're not things to be prepared or made. They are things to behold and to be congruent with. And I think sometimes, and so I'm going to bounce back and forth from, perspective and supposition, right? So sometimes I think that women, they go in bringing that representative of what they think he likes, right? And so if you go in bringing, say it again.
At least for the first 3 months.
That's fair.
For the first 3 months, right?
That's fair.
And so this is who he's jiving with, right? So let's talk about the way we receive information. So, of course, you all may be familiar with this. So we receive information at the back of the brain, right? In order to process that information, it goes from the back of the brain, goes to the limbic system, and then comes to the frontal lobe where it locks that information in. So, of course, women have all these neurons, the dendrites that are firing off at the same time in the limbic system, right? And so you have several different routes where information is going. But for men, our information, so we talked about before the show, dial up and high speed. You are like high speed, we're like dial up, right? So our information, it travels very slow down one route through the center of the brain. Our limbic system is not as broad. Doesn't mean we're less intelligent, we just process information differently. Right. So if we are processing the information, right, and then we have to stop in midstream to try to figure out, hey, what just happened? That process starts all over again, right? And so it may seem as though we're not liking that person that we're seeing now. It's just that we have to begin to process all over again what that situation looks like, right? So that
what the thing is, men growing and evolving so question is, I'm sorry, but is it their growth and evolving that is difficult, or is it our growth and evolving that is difficult?
I think it's both, because what men like at 20 is not the same thing they're going to like at 35.
True.
Because it's go ahead.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, it's not grow. Thing, right? But so our appetites and our affinities, they change as we grow, because it's a scientific fact that we change molecularly every 7 years, right? So the person that I was at 21 is not going to be the same person that I am at 28. Right. It's not going to be the same person I am at 35. So my appetite, my affinity is different. However, if I come in having a congruent commitment to you and you have a congruent commitment to me, then we can travel through those times and spaces that we may not like each other, right? And so it may not be that he's not liking. So Tina, you talking about, I'm a geek, right? Is the geek the person that he met?
Yes.
Right? It's the person that he met.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then you introduce. Do you introduce all of you into the dynamic at one time?
I try as much as possible. I try as much as possible. I really do try to build a friendship, because I don't want I don't want any surprises. I think with a friendship, you end up creating a safe space that I can be who I am. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. And I think if you met me and I was busy, that ish is not gonna change. You know,
Right.
if I was just as active and I love being around my family when you met me, that's not gonna change. If you admire that part of me and then now it annoys you, if that's what you want, that's who I was. If you knew that I was involved in like the community and things like that, now you have a problem with that. If I'm an educator and you know me building rapport with my students is important to me. So now you're annoyed with that. I have a problem with that. I'm like, you were in love with the idea of me. You didn't really like me because you didn't know
That's good. That's good.
what it entailed on my end. You just saw this and you're like, oh, but you like, now that you see what it really is, it's like, dang.
But also, I think that's like, when I say women don't actually like ambitious men, they like successful men. Ambitious men are busy. Successful men, you know what I'm saying? Like, successful men are able to sit and pay and buy back their time type thing. Like, you know, so I think that's the same thing as when it comes to the idea, if you will, of. Go ahead.
So rewind that again and say the difference again.
I feel like women say that, oh, I want a man that's ambitious, but ambitious men are busy. You know what I'm saying? Like, ambitious men are out there like hunting and gathering those same goals and achievements and accolades. Successful men are the ones that move a little slower, right? Because they've achieved these things and they're able to buy back their time and do things a little differently. So I think it's the way we say things, I guess, in society. You know what I mean? Like, but it's the meaning of those words, like I talk about all the time, that make the difference.
I think also you can bring in, when we talk about like as well, and we talked about this in the pre-show, you know, do you like me or do you like the idea of me? Do you like the person that you may see speaking or moderating, or, you know, do you like the idea of this person that you meet and then you really get to know me? And it's just like, wait, that's not who. No, that's, you know,
it's cool that she's opinionated.
Yeah,
right? Cool that she's opinionated on podcasts, and it's cool that she's opinionated out there out there when she's being an activist. But now she opinionated in the home, and it's different. So
yeah. So do you like me or do you like the idea that you had of me and how I would match with you? And so I think that comes into play as well. You know. And that's a unfortunate reality that I think a lot of people have found out during this pandemic. So, you know, do you like me or have you liked the idea of me this whole time? And
if you didn't find that out till y'all was trapped in the house, that's an issue,
right? And like I always start out like, you know, I've had like guys ask me, can you cook? And I'm like, but can you build this fence in my backyard though? And it's like, I'm not the cooker. Like I mean, women in my family didn't cook. The men do. Like, I can cook spaghetti and things like that. So I don't even want you to think that you about to come around and I'm gonna hook you up with some greens, some yams, and, you know, some smothered chicken. I mean, I can bake some chicken. But
but she could probably fix that fence though. And
but I can't fix that
fence though. Listen.
Yeah.
So how do you know, Patrick? How do guys know if they like, women know when it's just the idea? Like, because we experience, you know what I'm saying, like the consequence of when a guy just likes the idea of you. But how should a guy know when he likes her versus the idea of her?
It's by spending time. And sometimes he doesn't even know whether he likes her or the idea until he spent a certain amount of time with her. For instance, my wife and we'll be married 25 years in December, right? So when I first met her, to be honest, I didn't like her. She didn't like me, right? My younger brother introduced us. And so when he introduced us the first time, we both went about our merry way. And then I started noticing some things about her. I started noticing how she carried herself. I started noticing how she communicates. I started noticing her energy. And so I, thought it was a good idea just to at least sit down and get to know her. And so I would spend time, and we met in church. And so she would be the administrator at that time. I would spend time sitting down, just asking her questions. And she didn't even realize I was flirting at the time, because I'm just being inquisitive. I'm trying to find out about her, find out who she is, trying to find out her background. I'm asking the funny questions, asking the hard questions, asking just the blowout questions, and we're just getting to know one another. And so I understood that this was somebody that I could see myself doing forever with, right? Um, and there now, to be honest, there have been times where that ideology that I had of her has been challenged because
Okay.
I didn't understand at the time that we mature, we grow, we're different, right? So it's caused friction in our relationship, but as we continue to talk, and so I still have to ask her questions, she still has to ask me questions, and we get the chance to know one another all over again.
So, Cadric, you presented us with a question in the pre-show that I thought was really great. And you stated, is a person's like necessary in order for us to become a whole person?
Yes.
And I thought that was like a really dope question. And I've been kind of like leaning into it. And I'm just like, that's a really good question. So like my coworkers, not my coworkers, but my co-hosts, like, have y'all thought about that question? What do y'all think about that? Is somebody's like necessary in order for us to become a whole person?
Not necessary for us to become not necessary for me to become a whole person, and in dating, not required. But if we're supposed to be doing life together, then yes, that is definitely supposed to be, that is definitely a requirement, I would think.
Yeah.
Not at all times. I don't even like me at all times, right? So but the core or the basis of me, like, yes, I would think that like is necessary.
Yeah. And I agree with that. My whole if I'm gonna do life with you, I want you to like me. Like, I really want you.
Yes. Do you like me?
Like, I want you to like think the best of me, think the good of me. And even in the times you don't really like, I don't feel like fooling with you because I don't like you, but I do want you to think that I'm like, just think the best of me.
Right.
And I look at Barack and Michelle. I ain't saying that they, everything perfect, but I think she genuinely likes dude. Like, she just likes
her.
Right. And he likes her. I just like, do you like me? Like, I think if I want to be like, outside of this romantic relationship or whatever, would you still be cool? Would I still be cool with you?
Could we be homies? That's it.
Yeah. Would you be my friend?
Yeah.
Right.
And
so outside of the physical, do you like me? Do you like my mind? Do you like how I think, how I carry myself? Do you like what I'm into? Right.
Right.
Yeah. Like, okay. So for instance, do you feel, if I'm your wife, do you feel obligated to like me because of that title? Or do you generally like me as just Isis, as just who I am without all the all that stuff behind it? Or is it that you like me because of the labor that I provide? You like me because of the way I look on your arm and can, in business, help you get things accomplished or done because you appear as stable because you have this woman by your, like, so do you like me outside of the things that I can do for you? Like, do you genuinely like sitting on the couch and binge watching Family Guy with me or something? Like
me, or the idea of being married.
Right.
That part too.
The idea of having a mate. Mm-hmm.
Right. Because your family keep asking you when you're gonna get married.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And I was listening to a room on Clubhouse this past week, and the title of the club, for those who don't know what Clubhouse is, it's an audio app, where you just go in and have conversations. And so the title of the club was "Can You Be Bought?" And so the premise behind it was that there was this lady who was an RN. She's an RN, well sought after RN. But before she was an RN, she was waiting tables at a high-end restaurant. And she met this guy who was, a seven-figure earner and everything. And so he started talking with her. He knew what her ambition was, knew what she was doing. And she was going to school, and she had a timeline. And he liked her, and he really wanted to have a life with her. But he said, you know what? The stuff that you're doing is taking you too long. How about we just go ahead and get married, and I just give you this wonderful life. And, what do you think about that? And she thought about it for a minute because it could relieve some of the financial pressures and the difficulties that she may have or things that she may have faced. But then she had to turn that offer down because she said that I'm not going to be bought just to be on your arm, because I'm more than a trophy wife.
Right.
I'm more than somebody's arm candy, because she realized she had her own dreams, her own passion. She had her own desires. And for her to just take his offer meant that she would have to get rid of most or all of that just to be with him. And you have to begin to ask yourself, I guess, and the reason I ask that question is because you have to begin to ask yourself is, am I willing to give up part of who I am to be a part of his life? Am I really willing to give up, even, and I always think about this, and I don't want to take up, but I'm going to give this illustration. Dave Chappelle, he says, he talks about how it was when he first started in the comedy business, and he was getting ready to leave home. And his parents didn't really think he was going to do that well. But then when he started to blow up, he got ready to leave home. His dad told him, he said, look, I know you're getting ready to go out here and everything, but you have to name your price before you go in. Because if the price gets too high, you have to say, I'm gone.
I'm gone.
Right? And so I guess, and the reason I ask the question is women have to find out what it is. What's your price? What's your limit that you would say, I want to give up? And if you don't want to give up, you have to hold to that, right? And make sure that you don't allow yourself to dim your light and dumb it down just to say you have somebody that you're attracted to.
I call those non-negotiables.
You should definitely have non-negotiables, but I guess that also leads into a lot of unlearning, because as we talk about being liked and different things of that nature, a lot of times, yes, you're absolutely right. We bring in the representative, but it's because we've been conditioned that our worth and our validation comes in being married and having a husband, and then if chosen to have children. And so if my validation, if what I've been taught all my life is that I'm worth nothing until somebody chooses me, then I'm going to go out here and play a part until that happens. And so I may kind of lower my non-negotiables because I really want this guy to like me. He looks good on paper. And even then sometimes, but that's a whole nother story with red flags.
Girl, they're good on paper.
That good on paper. But but that also, like you said, you definitely have to know, but as time goes on, and let's be honest, and the older women get, a lot of times they'll start to soften some things, because then the lines get blurred in alone versus loneliness. You've got women who've been divorced and have children and are told, and even as a single mom, nobody will ever want you and you'll have to settle for this. And you're not good enough to deserve that. So you have to unlearn all of these narratives and all of this crap that's coming at you, and you have to hold the line. You have to hold your boundary and no, I'm deserving of more than that. And so, you know what, you can take that narrative and kiss my grits. But I think that's another thing is,
you really want to just say grits?
I'm gonna say grits because that was in my spirit. I heard Alice in my ear with that, kiss my grits. I love that show. Is hilarious. But I'm glad you said that about us understanding our non-negotiables and then being strong and holding the line. Like, that's important.
Yeah. I feel like my non-negotiables though at 20 and my non-negotiables at 30 look different.
Yes.
Right. And the things that even that you require from a mate, I think look different. Of course, the more you grow and evolve and change. What I needed from you at 25 is not what I need from you at 36. And so I think that also can be an issue. If you like, I'm sorry that I met you at 20, whatever, and this is who you met and this is who we were. But over time, this person has become different. And so, yes, this used to be where the base was, but the base is no longer here. right? This is what I am saying is now required. And so I guess the question is, if this is what is now required, do you have to renegotiate? Do you say this is what is now required? So if you are not willing to meet this, do we separate, or does that person then have to renegotiate their, what that base looks like?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question.
That's a good question.
A really good question. And I was thinking about this all week, and for me, I like to take Maslow's hierarchy and flip it on its head, right? Because many people think that self-actualization is the highest point, but I think it's the foundation person. Because if you can get a person who is self-actualized, who understands who they are, understands what they want, understands what their world looks like, then you bring in love and acceptance. If you are self-actualized, you don't need as much acceptance as you would if you were not. Some people might disagree with that.
I won't say disagree. I just think it moves. Like, self-actualization to me is the same thing as those non-negotiables. What I thought allowed me to be self-actualized at 27, that person was self-actualized. As I continue to grow, as culture change, as success happens differently, as you know what I mean, like you lose things, like whether that is material or, as the old folks say, as you keep living, then self-actualization to me looks different at those ages. You know what I'm saying? Like, and to me, it can seem like a moving target, I guess.
It can be.
It can be, but I also think as women, we tend to lean into our sisterhoods, our friendships, a little bit heavier than men tend to do. And I think that also helps us with our self-actualization and growth. Because you always had a homegirl who gonna check you and be like, or you're surrounded by women who are growing individually, and it's just like, wait, like how, look at what she's doing.
Done that.
Right, and they'll encourage you and like, okay, look, you still over here at level 1, and I know you can do better. So come on, let's go, and we'll have mentorships. And so I think that helps us as well. So Kadrick, I wanted to ask you, we talked about this too. So what does a man hear when he's told to do his work and go heal? Like the woman is not going to do this for him. Like,
wait, let me get my pen.
Look, I'm doing this.
Let me get my pen. Hold up.
So
what?
So that's the other thing, as we're talking about self-actualization and agreements. This means growth. This means you got to come out of what your current normal is. And so there's been a movement lately of women going, hey, we're not going to keep doing your work and ours. So what do men hear when they are told to do their work and go heal? Like, you got to go do your own work.
Other than you are not perfect, what do you after that?
Yeah, so it depends on the man. It depends on, his entire background, where he comes from. It depends on, what type of work you're telling him to go do. So if you're a woman telling him to go do the work because your mama messed you up, then I'm just saying, if that's the case, then what is happening now is he's seeing someone who looks like the person that damaged him and broke him, telling him he needs to get his stuff together, right? If I was in Nigeria, I would say shit because they say shit over there. So tell him he needs to get his shit together. All right. So right. So if it's a woman who's telling him this, he may be stunned by it in the beginning, right? But it may take him a little while to come to grips with the reality that she's telling the truth, right? Because if he goes around his boys and he begins to tell them what she said, what's going to happen, and his boys are going to say, bro, you're right.
Oh.
Oh.
He because
tell him that he's right, or not that she's right, but that he's right.
no, his boys, his real boys, are gonna tell him, you know, she's right.
Oh, okay.
Because I noticed this, and this about you. Because they're gonna tell him, they're gonna get in this stuff, and they're gonna tell him the truth, right? But if he does not have any male companionship, if he's just an island and he's isolated, and you know, he's feeling this person is me against the world, and he's this ambitious guy and does not have a circle at all, then he is, you know, either he's a narcissist or he's a borderline narcissist.
I don't trust
and there's nothing you can do to convince him that he needs to do anything, because he feels like he's perfect. And if you tell him that he needs to do his work, he's going to feel like the victim, right? Now, if you're talking to a person who he realizes who he is, he realizes that okay, I can't do life on an island. I can't do life in this little bubble that I have. And somebody tells him that he needs to get his stuff together. He's going to take that in. He's going to think about it. Now, he may not respond immediately, but remember, we have one round. So it's going to take him a little while to process that. He's going to think about it, and he may come back and say, you know, I thought about what you said. But here's the thing. And this is what where the female, you know, the woman can come back in and assist with that. When you tell him he needs to get his stuff together, and he begins to pout, he begins to go in. You can't go in to the cave and try to coddle him and try to get him out the cave and feel bad about what you said when it's the truth. Because his mama may have messed him up by catering to him, making him think that he's, you know, the gift, right? And so you can't go in and coddle him. You got to let him sit with that. And you got to be comfortable allowing him to sit with that until he comes to the realization that, man, I really do need to get my stuff together.
Woo! Amber, you on mute?
Am I still on mute?
I can hear you. I can hear you. That's real. Woo!
And even in adding on to that, I guess my question's like, so let's say, like Isis was saying, women begin at some point, and I genuinely think that is culturally, they get tired of non-affirming places, especially Black women. So they begin to lean into those sister circles more than normal at some point, especially during those times of growth and healing, especially during those times of healing, because it is affirming. So very often, I think that women are going through that period of growth and healing, and then they begin to readjust those negotiables or non-negotiables, right? And very often trauma is associated with those same non-negotiables, right? Those things of saying, those standards that they are now saying, this is what I am no longer going to allow and or deal with, because this has caused trauma and XYZ, and thus it is affecting my healing, right? And so then there is work that needs to be done on both ends. But the I guess the healing that is taking place, very often I think that the conversation feels like he's not moving fast enough, right? Like you can feel like, listen, this is where I am. I'm saying that this is where I am wanting to go. This is what I'm saying I'm not wanting to deal with. And you may have a man that says, okay, well, I get it, but you just put me in a PhD level course and we've been in junior high for a long time. You know what I'm saying? And so women are like, yes, but see, I have now been in graduate and PhD like the entire time. I feel like women feel like they have been doing this work and men's work. And then at some point in time, they say, I'm no longer going to do your work. And then that, I think, can look, or I'm asking, does that then look like abandonment? Because that's, you know what I mean? Like, that to think that that's what it can look like, but it's more so saying, I'm just not carrying this anymore.
Yeah. And to me, it's like, I'm not trying to rush you, but you've put me through some trauma, man. And like, I'm trying to be there as you
I don't
grow,
need to rush you.
but
I don't need to rush you.
but as you grow, I'm still taking some hits. So it's like I need you to do the work, but I know you trying, and I see you working, but I'm still taking hits after I've already taken hits already, and I'm going. So that's where my mindset is. It's
So
like,
the question is, how do you go to your corners then? I guess, Kevin. What does going to your corners look like?
Yeah.
Going to your corner is so for a man, if he, is how do I want to say it? If he's in his right mind, right?
Okay.
And so this has some subjectivity to it, right? So if he's in his right mind, he respects boundaries.
Even if he's never been taught boundaries? Like boundaries may be new in that relationship, right?
Right. It may be new. It may be new. And so here is what you have to do. If you've done work and you're on that PhD level, but he's still, in that middle school level in the relationship, you have to think about, you brought him in that middle school level, right? So he now has an idea of what it was like in middle school. He hadn't even been to the place where he's graduated high school, if we continue to use that same analogy. Mm-hmm. And you're trying to bring him in to this space where you're trying to get him to really graduate really quick. So here it is. One thing that gets a man to graduate really quick is if you set boundaries and you stay consistent with the boundaries. If you're conflicting with those boundaries, and he texts you, in the middle of the day, and he say, and this is one of the things that men understand, that this is a secret weapon. Hey, you want to go get something to eat?
Listen, them crab legs gonna
y'all always want to feed us.
Listen, the crab legs get me every time.
You have to make sure you have your own crab legs at home.
You can DoorDash them.
They be expensive though. I be like, he gonna spend the money for the crab legs. I got to do better. You right.
So
on my list.
You have to be willing. You got to be willing. Hey, to turn that date down in order to let him know, hey, these are my boundaries, and they don't go back and forth. Because the point that you let them down, what you do now is you open up the door for more trauma. Yep. And it may happen at the table, in the restaurant.
Every time.
That is true. That is very true.
I need a Moscato.
You have to remain consistent because when you think of it in an African American context, think about this.
Yeah.
Most men, and it's about 70-75%. Most men grew up not having order, not understanding what boundaries were, right? And so to introduce this to them, it's a foreign concept.
It is.
It's a foreign concept, and because it's a foreign concept, again, the way we process information is a lot slower than the way women process information. So when you set a boundary, even though it's a foreign concept, what he's going to do is he's going to sit back, he's going to look at it, and he's trying to find out where's the vulnerable spot in the boundary. And if he goes back, and if he's known you long enough, he knows what can make you pull those boundaries down. But if he knows them better than you do, you're in trouble.
And is this how the audacity continues? Because the audacity is strong, but this sounds like how it keeps going. Because
he's a hunter. Yeah.
The audacity.
If he knows your boundaries, if he knows your vulnerabilities better than you do, you have a problem. And then the question now becomes, why do I continue to attract the same type of broken men?
You can't blame that on nobody else. I gotta tell my people, something can't be wrong with everybody. If you 7 husbands in, something can't be wrong with everybody.
That is true. That is true. You have to take a look at yourself at some point. So as we wind this down and wrap this up, all right. So, well, maybe one more question after this one. Okay. So with everything we just said about and things of that nature, as Black women, we tend to be armored up, and for good reason, from society to various factors, workplace.
That actual relationship.
Too bad. Yes, we have armor. And so just kind of, and everybody can chime in on this, but I'm going to start with Kadrick. Do Black men understand the pros and cons of the armor that we wear and why we may come off as hard or attitudinal or non-submissive, since that tends to be a favorite thing that they love to say? Do they understand our armor and why we move and react the way that we do? And that there's a I can't find the word right now, but there's like if you can get me to be vulnerable and be soft with you, that's not like something to take like that's honestly it's a win at times. But yeah, do they understand the armor, and do they understand the way that we allow you access when we feel like we can be soft and vulnerable with you? If that makes sense.
They don't. Most men don't.
Okay.
And I have to admit, I've not always been at the place to where I understood it. I've grown to understand it over the years. What made me understand it and really come alive and be woke to what was really going on is I was again on Clubhouse, and I was in one Clubhouse room, and there was this one young lady by the name of Ali. And the guys would come up on the stage and they would give these BS answers. And she's so quick on it. And the way when she would hit them real quick, I'm listening to it and I say, oh, I get it now. These women are angry because they feel they're in a world where they are unprotected, uncared for, and don't feel like they don't need to be rescued. They just want to feel like they're protected in their own skin without having to prove to you that they belong.
I think that the conversations that I am a part of, or even when it comes to the things that I've heard my Black female friend group say, the issue I feel is not that. Let me explain it the way I explained it to a student the other day. I had a student that could not figure out specifically what they wanted to do, and I'm laughing because it made me think about all the times that I feel like I told you I wanted to be a lawyer, or I wanted to be this, and you kept challenging those. And you kept challenging those things. But anyway, I had a student, and he was like, he had tried this, he wanted to be this, he wanted to be this. And I told him that if he figured out the problem that he wanted to solve, that he could figure out the career later. First figure out, identify what that is, and to think granular when you do that. And so he was like, well, but, first I tried environmental. That's too large. That's an entire social system that you're talking about. Healthcare is a social system, criminal justice. I was like, think about this. Like, how when you lay on the floor, you can see the whole, you can see the whole room, right? Like, but you start right. I said, well, I feel like Black women, we're laying on the floor so we can see the entire room. Black women are able to see the problems when it comes to Black women. We can see the problems with Black men. We can see them with white men. We can see it with, what I'm saying? Like, the problems are easy for us because of the intersectionality of race and gender, right? Right. So I don't feel very often that Black women are saying that we don't feel protected, but the issue more so is that we don't feel supported. And I feel that support is what we feel is lacking. Yeah. When we say things like, we're gonna ride in the streets for everybody. We're gonna ride for for George, and we're gonna ride for Ahmad, and we're gonna ride for everybody. And all we're saying is we want you to ride for Brianna and Sandra the same way that we ride for George and Mike Brown and everybody else.
Right.
So I don't feel that there's this pitted. I don't
Right.
So I don't feel that there's this pitted. What I don't encounter is black women that are like, I'm going to rally and compete against the black man. What I encounter is black women saying, why is he competing with me? Why is he coming for me? And I mean that whether it's in a professional sense,
Right.
like we sitting at the same table, and if I expect to have any ally, it's the one looking like me. Why you keep letting this white man talk over me? Let her finish the sentence. It's everything from that to in the regular world. So I don't feel like that competition is had between black women towards black men. I feel that black women are used to encountering spaces where black men are competing with them, whether in their personal or professional lives.
Right. And even in the personal, it's like, we're going to support you with your dreams, all of that. And then when we have ambitions, the support isn't there. So like, you're not our tambourine player, but we going to sure be yours, And I've often, like, when we talk about protesting and things like that, is women on the front line. And I've always, to me, the visual that always comes to my mind is a black woman is standing in front of the black man with her hands like this. The black man is standing behind her, about to stab her in the back. And it's like, we're protecting everybody. And then here it is that, like, it's just.
To not feel protection in society, and then to not feel it in your home. It's,
right.
That's I think that same.
And so you feel like you're having to fight on both fronts.
Yes, you're having to fight on both fronts.
Yeah, and so when you have a man who he's never been conditioned to understand that, hey, we are to support one another, and this is what he's seen. He's been trained by what he's seen. A woman, she's seen, for instance, she's seen that her mother get up and grind and do it, right? You've seen it, and even if you don't, I'm going to do it. But for the son, and even how we raise our sons, we have to think about that. For her son, she gives him everything. She says, okay, even if I don't have it, you're going to have it, right? But the son has never seen a man do that, right? In many cases, he's never seen a man get up and say, look, I don't care what happens. You're supposed to be here to take care of this because your mother shouldn't be taking care of this, or your sister shouldn't be taking care of this. And many times he hasn't seen that, right? And I don't think that it's on purpose. I think it's sometimes how we be conditioned. And then I think that sometimes it may be, just supposition. It may be the fact that in the broader sphere of society, he's taught that, look, you have to think about yourself and nobody else.
But I think that's it. We teach our young
women. That's problematic.
We teach our young women grow up and find a husband, grow up and be a wife, but we don't teach our young men grow up. We teach our young men grow up and be successful, grow up and make money, but we don't teach them grow up and find a wife, grow up and be a husband. We don't teach
because he has no idea of community.
Right.
Grow up and find emotional regulation.
That's true.
I think it's the same way when we put our girls in kitchen sets and we give our boys instead of, like, they need to know how to cook too. They need to know how to nurture and hold a baby doll too. They need to know how to comb hair. That's that nurturing side. That part we condition them from early on instead of like putting them in those settings of like, okay, let them get that kitchen set because you need to know that he can get this baby and learn how to nurture. That part.
But we taught them the birds and the bees, though. Right. In keeping with He Loves Me or He Loves Me Not, I am going to show you a list of celebrity couples. that we know and know well, and you just, your first thoughts as to not just whether he likes her, but whether she likes him. Do they like each other? All right. So our first couple is Chrissy Teigen and John Legend. Like or don't like?
I think they like each other. They appear to be like a fun, joking couple.
You think they like each other?
Yes.
I think they like each other.
Cat, you hadn't said anything, did they?
I think he genuinely likes her.
I do not think she likes him.
You don't think she likes him?
I think he likes her a lot. I do.
I think she likes what he brings to the table.
I
Really?
can see
I
that
don't-
lens. I can see that.
I can't. I don't know. I have to, but I
think that they have good days, right? Like they have chemistry on camera and that kind of stuff. And I think that she enjoys that. Probably without him, she got painted as a mean girl. You know what I mean?
I got you.
I think that he offers this relatability to who she is, and so I think it's the pair of them that is liked, but I don't know if she actually likes him.
However, I will say this: they seem to be surviving through the difficult moments of their relationship. So that's the test, when you can go through difficult moments publicly and still stay connected. So I may be wrong. So.
All right, Paula and Denzel.
Oh yes, I think they genuinely
No.
like each other. I think they like each other.
Yes.
no.
Tina, what you got?
What?
What?
I don't. I just don't.
You don't
Probably
think they?
because
Who doesn't like
probably because I know some past stuff. But no.
who doesn't like who?
I think they are together for business right now. And I definitely don't think that she really, based on interviews from his son.
Because kids will tell your business.
Kids will tell all your business.
I
grew
don't
up in a
think.
house. This is
I
what
know,
y'all
we just
saw.
acknowledge that his son is fine. I mean, he not like
Yeah, his son is fine. But if you interviews, his son, his son, they always point out Denzel, and he was like, "But my mom is an actress too,
Facts.
and she been doing this work too."
Facts.
So he makes an emphasis on saying that, but I don't think they. I think maybe they liked each other, but over the years they don't like each other. Neither one. They don't.
All right.
I think he's probably going to like her, but I think she just fed up, don't like her.
I definitely think that he probably likes her at this point more than she likes him. I do.
Yeah.
J and B. I think that I think that he. No, I'm sorry. I'm a huge J fan, and I just don't understand. I ain't never understood. I understood for business purposes, but I don't even. I feel like at this point, Lemonade is a thing, and now you got to stick together because I don't know. Maybe it'll make better albums.
But was Lemonade just a business stunt though?
Now, I think that hurt was. I think that the hurt expressed in Lemonade, even may not have been current, but I think that the hurt expressed in Lemonade was real.
Beyonce said in this last interview she just did, she said, "I took my broken heart and did a cultural reset."
But when you go back and you analyze Lemonade, she was not just portraying the hurt that Jay put on her. Some of it was stuff that she had received from her daddy.
Her dad.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yes.
I'm not. I think that all of those things played a part, but I think even from the beginning, when you used to look at their relationship, you would think, what do they talk about? Like I would like.
I think she liked him. I think she liked him
exactly
in the beginning, and then things evolved and changed, and
that's me.
Business and branding is a thing. She married a Sagittarius man, so I'm gonna just keep it there. I think that she liked him in the beginning, and he liked the idea of her. He liked the idea of her, and then over time, she has evolved greatly. And I think that he may like her now, and she'd be like, "Bro, you on my coattail." I think that is personally where I think that they are most of the time.
I mean, they like each other now.
You think they both like each other?
I don't think they like each other. I do think it was what you described at first. Like he liked the idea of her, and then you know what I'm saying. And she really liked him, and then But I think both of them are doing the internal work. This is just what I'm seeing. That now they probably like each other a lot more than they used to. So I'm gonna say they like each other right now.
I feel like if she let his hair grow out like that in public, she must like him. There's no
I
way
mean,
she
she
could
like
not like him and let him go outside with his hair like that.
And so I think, like, I think if you had asked this maybe 5 years ago, I probably was like, nah, they don't like each other.
I
Like,
still want to know what they talk about, though. I said what I said, and that's just,
I mean, I think, I guess when he wearing his hair like that, he probably talking about some, some good stuff now.
Right, no, I don't think the issue was what he talking about. I think that, like, okay, so, did you already say
Yeah, hustler from New York.
Did you say whether they like each other?
Who did you say next?
All right, Samuel L. And I'm sorry, I don't know.
Tanya.
There you go, Samuel and Tanya.
I do. I think they do like each other. I think they look like they laugh together. Like I feel like they have cussing matches. I do. I feel like they have cussing matches
with him, baby. I think get with him.
Yeah. Yes. If we can't have a cussing match, do we really like each other?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. See who can say MF the best, right?
Like not even the best. Like who can say it in multiple languages? Who can say it with different inflections? Can you use it for an adverb and an adjective? You know what I'm saying? Like
yes.
Who really can do this? Can you use it as a conjunction? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm constantly amazed at good cussers. Like that's it. Just, like it's a skill. It's a skill,
and I have practiced so hard. Okay,
I feel like Samuel L. will affirm you in all 4 cuss words or whatever, and you just feel like the most lifted. I feel like he has that power to lift you. Even you like.
I feel like he could start that same compliment with the B word, and you'll be like, you better. Thank you.
Like I'm supposed to like not like you. Like you really. I have to feel affirmed. Okay, it's Samuel L.
All right, Alicia and Swiss Beats.
I think they genuinely like you.
I think they like each other.
Tina?
Does anybody like each other?
Oh, God.
Last one. No. Nicole Ari Parker and Boris Kujo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Anytime you can trade thirst traps on your Instagram, like, do we really like each other? They was like posting each other's thirst traps, embarrassing their kids on IG.
I love it.
Do you really love each other if you can't embarrass your kids on social media by being mushy in public?
And King and Queen of Entanglement, Will and Jada. No, yeah, yeah. I don't think they like each other. In fact, I used to think that they had like this just mutual respect and that kind of stuff. But Will's face and his energy during that whole interview looked like a broken and unhealed man. And we already know he's been fighting, trying to live up to a ghost of a man most of their relationship. Yeah. But like at this point, I think that it's unrepairable. They'll never get divorced.
No, I think when it started was when what was the drama that she was on where she was the nurse.
The nurse Nurse Jackie?
No, that is a whole different show.
Oh, my bad.
That's a white woman.
That's a white. It was a medical show. I know
what you're talking about. It was on TNT, and she was a Hispanic dude.
She was an RN, and when they had them love scenes, I probably would have been little concerned because it looked too real to me.
Yeah, those love scenes were really.
Yeah, it looked too real. So
I feel like
you notice they didn't even finish the whole season.
Yeah. Like I feel it's kind of like you already knew when you saw Mr. and Mrs. Smith that Angelina and Brad had some real chemistry. Like you already knew that it was all bad for Jennifer when you watched that movie. Like it was real. Yes, sir. Okay, all right. Well, that is it for He Loves Me, He Loves Me Not. As far as we have decided that Katina don't think that most people don't like these. Most of our celebrity couples don't like each
I
other.
told you, I think most people married to people they did not like. And it started off straight off with some romantic stuff, and they never were friends, and they genuinely do not like each other. And I just think that it's a whole lot of people that are afraid to really like go that route, and they just are with people they probably I'm telling you, I can tell at a wedding. If I'm in the wedding, if I'm in your wedding and I don't cry, y'all not supposed to be together.
Not if I don't cry.
And it's based on whether or not you cry.
It's based on whether if I don't cry, y'all should be together.
That's not the rule. Listen, I ain't cried at a lot.
I am dying. Kendrick, have you ever officiated a wedding where you tried to stall, or you was like, if anybody don't really feel like we should
some people take that question out of the wedding ceremony, but I make sure I intentionally put it in there because I do not
let
want
the Wayne Wayne come in my wedding talking about some Willie baby, please. No, it's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
I just said, no, I'm giving y'all a last
I purposely
out.
put that in there because sometimes I'm performing because I used to officiate at least 10 weddings a year, right? And I can tell sometimes when I'm officiating. That's why I make sure I say the truth of what marriage really is. I can tell when I'm officiating whether or not they are just in it for the idea or they're in it for the commitment.
Kendrick, that's a whole series you can do because that's a whole series right there. Because do you want the wedding or do you want the marriage? Like it's
right.
I wonder statistically, like how many weddings you've officiated of those who have lasted and those who got divorced within the first 5 years.
Statistically speaking, it used to be if I did the premarital counseling, it lasted even in the midst of rocky times. But now, with the society that we're in and with all of the options we have, right? That statistic is starting to decline. I used to really have a high success rate, but now, even with premarital counseling, because people are bringing their representatives to premarital counseling and not being honest. And I would say the number one reason is trauma.
Yep.
Well, I would say they say that the number one reason for breakup used to be finances and such, right? It was finances, and then it has to do with sex. But the number one reason now is the blended family, is what they are saying.
I can see that. So that leads us.
I can see that.
And I was saying that's a whole different show.
That's a different
show. But as a single mom for 11 years, I can definitely understand why that would be a difficult concept and how that could,
I can see.
Yeah, because it used to be, if you have an issue with my child, and basically you're saying you have an issue with me because I'm the one that raised them, right? So there's this defense thing that automatically happens when you feel as though, you need to conflict resolve. So
I can see that. But this is a good segue into the hot seat. So coworkers, we got the hot seat. So hot seat is where we are going to do different themes each week. So this week our theme is either
because women grow, because we grow on
we
purpose.
Grow. Amber, what are we doing for hot seat this week?
Hot seat, which in for BB3, for our coworkers who do not know, stands for honest, open, and transparent. That is what you are saying you're going to work on in an honest, open, and transparent way. So you can either bring something. What are we saying?
Health, healing,
or ratchet. What are you working on as far as your health, healing, or ratchet? Patrick, you are our guest. Would you like to tell us what you're working on for your hot seat?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what I'm working on. For the first time in 8 years, I'm actually going to sit down and talk with my therapist.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, black men go.
Yeah, black men go to therapy. Yeah. Because I'm in a different space now, and things are different. My wife and I are becoming empty nesters, and I'm transitioning in my career / entrepreneurial pursuits, and so I need to sit down and talk to somebody. So that's I'm doing work to heal.
Thank you for being in that hot seat. Tina, what are you working on this week?
I am working on being comfortable being uncomfortable in and it's okay to be uncomfortable, especially when you're learning and growing new things, growing in different areas. So I am going to be learning to be more comfortable in being comfortable.
All right, Isis.
I am continuing to work on my boundaries and owning my shit, because that is the first step to healing, is owning your stuff. And yeah, so that's where I am with my hot seat, is boundaries and owning my shit.
I'm gonna work on new ways to use old cuss words. I am going to find just new ways to interject random cuss words into everyday conversations that don't even require them.
You know what? Mm-hmm. I saw this tweet as you said that. I saw this tweet that said, "I'm gonna find ways to cuss people out biblically." So all you got to do, like, I'm gonna find ways to cuss folk out like Jesus did, because Jesus cussed folk out. It just wasn't the words we use, you know. So hey, dishonor on your family, dishonor on your cat. You have to. You gotta find blip. There, they was reading down in the Bible. We just didn't realize it. They was cussing folks out for real.
It is
dishonor on your family,
right? It's obvious your seed will be begging bread. Like, we just gonna
You know what? I'm gonna be petty. Since you went and got this other woman pregnant.
Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
She was out here uncovering feet and stuff.
Yeah, you know. So you went, okay, so I know you got this whole situation with Hagar and Sarah. So I tell you what, I'ma have, like, they gonna have a lot of descendants, and you gonna have a lot of descendants too. It's not just gonna be you. That's it. Yeah. So like you said, it's different ways. It's different ways.
Okay, well, that is it for our hot seats and for today's conversation. As always, Tina, will you tell the people where we can be found if you'd like to catch up on season 1 and follow season 2?
You can catch us on all major social media platforms.
All major podcast platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google Podcast, you name it, we are there. And Anchor, definitely. It's Anchor as well. As always, we are Business and Bullshit. We are 3 women,
3 perspectives,
1 podcast.
All right, coworkers, we will see you next time.
Thank you, coworkers.
Thank you. Bye.
We are